Good morning everybody and welcome to Carlina Lewin Studios. How are you? I have not seen you guys in a long time, so that's exciting. Hey, I've been doing these lovely ladies in watercolour, nice and loose, and I just thought that we could come on and do one together. Why not? And show you my technique. So these are them. Some are a little bit lighter, this was the first one I did. Then I did this one. And then I did this one just yesterday. Now these are actually AI references that I've created that I put in the prompts and asked and got the reference. I've got a whole stack of them actually. I was thinking that if you wanted them to be available for a download, I could possibly do that through my website. So yeah, so I thought I'd just start from the beginning and show you the technique. I've showed you this before on my channel, but it's always nice just to rerun over it. So let's try not to talk too much and to make it a 100-hour video. I hope you guys are all well. So this is a little bit of willow charcoal that I spread on the back. I obviously print this out. So you can do your own photos, you can do all sorts of different references. This is just one way of transferring the image onto the page. Blow all the charcoal off, rub it in. Which is a nice accurate way to get all of your proportions in. This is not cheating, this is getting it onto the page accurately, and then the magic is in the painting, because I always joke and say to my husband, if I did this tracing method and then you tried to paint it, how would it turn out? You know, funny. So for all the people that say, oh, that's cheating, well, you try it, because you still have to know how to paint. Anyway, we won't go down that road. There should be absolutely no rules in art, so don't listen to them, anybody. Just have fun, as long as you're having fun. Just roughly go around the outline. So what's happening here is, because I'm going over it with a ballpoint pen, it is transferring the image with the charcoal onto the paper for me. So I'm somewhat not being so accurate to what I'm doing, because like I say, it doesn't really matter when it comes into the painting aspect of it. You're not gonna be getting things accurate anyway. It becomes loose and impressionistic in the... I mainly try and go in and get a lot of the dark points, do you know what I mean? Like with a trick with this, with the lips, for example, I don't just go around the edge of the lip. I actually colour the whole thing in, because a lot of my students, when I teach them this method, they will just go around the outline and then they won't know what needs to be coloured, if you know what I mean. I've done this with a zebra before, and everyone just sort of draws the lines and then look at it and it's just a whole lot of empty lines. And they're like, oh gosh. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You need to actually blacken the blacked in ones, you know. So we're just running over. And I leave these white little bits out, these wee highlights, and we can paint around them. Just like that. I even, oh, that was a bit far, that's fine. So go around the eyes. So everywhere that there's solid black, I colour you know, like transfer this in solid. So I run my pen over the whole lot. I wonder if you can hear my dog snoring again. Bless his cotton socks. Colour it all in. Do the eyebrow. So a lot of these other bits, you know, like some of these coloured bits here, you can lightly go around it to like sort of show you, you know, like maybe with the nose, we'll just sort of go around that. Very light, I don't even know. Keep this hand here and don't move this and don't move the paper, but you can fold it back to see what's happening. I'm pushing, I can feel that I'm pushing quite hard. I'm getting quite a hard transfer. Normally I'm a little bit more light fingered than that, but it's going down firmly today. Sometimes I can feel my hand hurting. I'm like, why am I gripping it like that? Don't need to be that firm. So I could go a little bit down like this for the shadow for the nose. And I also do the light outline of the face, so we know how to go around the face. So all of these extra bits, like all the splatters and all that, I'm just going to improvise with that. That's the part of the artistic flow that I'll be having myself. And just sort of, you know, a few whips of hair down here. Just sort of give you the indication of where the hair goes. You can flick it back and check. I have not got the nose. So we can shade in the nostril. And that's all we've got. So we might want to do some shading. Just make the pressure a lot lighter so we know that this is shading. We have to go in with a lighter paint. It's not there, but I'm actually going to bring that line all the way down. That's a little bit better. So you can definitely modify and change things if you see that it's just, you know, not, I might go up and put a line down and see where that dark needs to come in underneath her chin. Check everything is nice. Do the eyelashes. Have we got ears, eyebrows, nose, eyes? That's all good. Right, are we happy with that? We might put a few more marks in here on where her jersey is. Just make it up, really. See, this is made up. And then we just go in with the paint. Might lightly shade that just a little bit so we know there's a bit of a shade there. That looks gorgeous. Right, let's move on to the next stage. Then I will get a kneaded rubber and go around and take off the unnecessary, because when you're pushing on it like that, you transfer. And look, there's a wee bit of a mark up there. Sort of, it doesn't really matter because I actually like this technique because the charcoal sort of blends in with the paint a wee bit too sometimes. So I quite like seeing lines in art so you can see where the start of the process has begun, you know. I'll just take a wee bit of that off. You can sort of press these down and make that image just a little bit lighter if you want in places. Because sometimes when you go over it with watercolour, it sort of traps it in there and then you can't erase it. So if there are too many harder lines that you're not liking, it's best to take them out at this stage. And sometimes just sort of lightly whipping it over with a paper towel can get rid of some loose stuff sitting on the surface. Don't rub too hard because then you rub it in. Right, there we go. So we're going to do this all at once so you can see what's going on. Right, where is my brush? Dun, 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 dun. Today we are going to use Cassonay Net, what is it? Da Vinci number 0 lovely wee mop brush. How about that? And this is ultramarine. We're just going to make a I'll wake some of that old stuff up. a very, now that's got indigo in it, it's a lot darker. Ultramarine, there we go. That's lighter, you can see my mix. Now what I'm going to do is go over and do the light bits. Where was that reference of ours? Here, we can just sort of sit that there. I don't know if you can see the full reference, but it can just sort of give you an idea. So what we can do is we're going to go over all the light parts of her face. Just go over all of it, because we'll do it in lights, mediums and dark tones after the fact. So just go over all of it. You can go around the lips if you want. Dun, dun, dun. And we'll just add a wee wash of light stuff in there. And so wherever else you can see some light bits, just flick them in. Doesn't have to be accurate at this point. Just get close up to that line. Make sure that we're all there. That's lovely. Now I'm just going to let that dry a little bit and go in with a wee bit of a darker colour just on the hair, just to give this sort of a bit of a mid-tone, and then touch it in so it is going to bleed into that face area. We're just going to put a wee bit of colour into her hair. Oh, that's a bit of bright colour. And then also, so at this time we're just sort of waiting for that to go a little more dampish, if anything. Just go over the lines. Don't like how dark that's looking initially right now, so give it a tap. So I can hear the birdies singing out there. Righty ho. Oh, I forgot to do her ear in light. Bring it all the way down. Bit of a light wash there. Sometimes I end up putting the ear in and then I end up painting over it anyway. So now while this is still damp, we go in with a little bit thicker consistency paint. So not so much water in it, because it will stay where you put it more than if it's super, super watery. That's still quite watery and it's still going to blend. We're just doing the wet on wet technique at the moment, so we get nice soft edges. Because we've got a wee bit of shadow down here on the chin. Going up here. I'm actually going to, oh my goodness, that turquoise is really goopy this morning. It takes a while for it to stop gooping. I painted yesterday, so it's still really vibrant. I'm just going to add turquoise. I haven't added turquoise in their face before yet, but we will give it a go. Just going to give it a bit of a shadow here. I want it to be a little bit softer edge there. Get into the yellow ochre. That's quite bright. That could have even been a bit of Aussie gold, that. But never mind, let's go with the yellow ochre. That's what all the other ones have got in it too. So sometimes, like, I would sort of give it a hair dry in between these stages. bit of indigo. Start to get a little bit of dark in here. Nice and wet on wet. Bit of a dark line up here. You can hear those birdies out there chirping. So I'm just going to go up to all of this now with my dark. My dark colour is a little bit thicker in consistency to what is on her face. And it will sort of give a soft edge because I don't want it exactly hard, a hard line underneath her chin anyway, you know. Oh, she's looking pretty. Just give her some splashes. I love flicking stuff around. Oh, I got that on the actual reference. There we go. I love this brush for splashes. It works really well. Oh, that's on her face. Suck it off straight away. There might even be a wee bit of turquoise in the eye that I could remove. Yeah, that worked. See how that's gone quite blended? I can, after the fact, I can lighten that up. Put a little bit of yellow there. Yeah, so normally I would dry this off, and I just don't want to do that with you guys at the moment because that's noisy. Thicker paint, so darker colour, thicker consistency, less water. Just making some marks around. So people say like once you make a mistake with watercolour you can't correct it. That's not true. You can just sort of go back and with a paper towel can be genius. Right, I'm just going to go in with some darker hair bits at the moment. Like I said, I would normally wait for some of this to dry, but we're getting impatient. Just we're going to get a lot more softer lines. Concentrating, going quiet. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. See, actually, I'm going to go over that ear again. I don't want it there. Artistic license. Just going to soften this edge here. Under the chin. How damp is that? It's still quite damp. I just like it being very loose and lots of colour. There's a nice big bluish bit in here. Let's see if we can see. I'm leaving bits of white as well. I might put a little bit of bleach water in that bit just for interest. Oh, I like how it does that. Look at that. And then drop a wee bit more darker blue around the edge of that. And it blooms out. Oh, that's all running into her face. Oh, why didn't you tell me? See, that's what I mean with a tissue. You can pick it up later. I need to sort of leave that alone and come back in later once it's a little bit more dry. because that is just going to bleed into the side of her face a wee bit too much. Might cover that bit up. I'm just going to run my fingernail through bits to give it scratchy hair little bits. Fun, fun, fun. I think that's going to be fine. Let's go in there and just do her lips. I hope my head's not getting in the way. I just thought I'm going to give her red lips. I've been giving the other one dark lips, but I did do one with red lips and I liked it. So we're just going to go in very, very thick pigment on my brush. It's very thick. There's not much water. So I'm getting a really good coverage and a lot more control on where that paint's going. So we get these edges and then start going in and remembering those light bits that we left behind. Can you hear the birds out there? They've been very twerpy today. There we go. Pretty little lips. Yeah, it's still a lot damper than what I would normally want to go into this with it being dry, but for the sake of the video, see that's wet now. You watch the end of that eyebrow. Splay off. Soft edged eyebrow, not the best. So really thick pigment paint, because this is still quite damp. It's not the best, my friends, because it's going to give us not so a hard edge. Because I've got really thick pigment, you know, less water, more pigment on my brush, it's not going to move as much. If I had a whole lot of liquid on my brush and not, why are you splaying apart? And not as thick a pigment, it would move more. It's the fact that I've got quite thick pigment on here. Very lightly do it. That is fine. And also those eyes we didn't exactly cover too much with paint, did we? Can you hear my dog snoring? Bless him. I'm going to lower that corner down, see? Nice. That worked. Just do this little bit of the nose. Lovely. We need to go in with a wee bit of shading on that side for her nose. Dun, 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 dun. What brush am I going to choose for my wand? Let's don't want to touch that eyebrow now. See, normally I would hit it with the hairdryer. Let's do some darker splits. Some people like splats, some people don't, so if you don't like it, don't put it in. Personal choice, my friends. Personal choice. I personally like them, but some might not. my finger in there and just add a couple. Let's do a couple of turquoise, deliberate, bigger ones. Squeeze the brush. I just squeeze the brush, squeeze the liquid out. So then it's, the higher you go, the more splatter you'll get like this. See? And it just sort of goes nicely. Anyway, we're doing well. And I want to, look, I'm going to do 2 seconds of hair drying. All right, pre-warning, ready, 1, 2, 3, go. Right, there we go, that's enough. I just want to get some more darker colours into, you know, like this indigo, darker lines into her hair, and if it's super wet, we're not going to get the definition. So I need to re-establish this hairline and do some wiggly bits down here. Because I paint so wet and wet, she'd be wet. Softer lines, thicker lines. I'm not quite sure what that piece is in the middle there. I might add quite a lot of something pretty in her hair with those pins that they put in their hair, you know. It's nice. Might get a thinner. What's this one? This is a little number 2 round, just a little. It's almost a rigger, but it's not. See how you get that sharper line. There we go, there's a wee bit more darker bits sitting up there. So thin lines, thick lines. Oh, that covered up that white, didn't it? This will dry a little bit darker, a little bit lighter than what I'm putting it on. Here we go. I think she looks beautiful myself. I like her a lot. Go in with a wee bit of shading around that nose. That should be a bit drier now. If we go in with a bit of shading on here, run that down this side of the nose. That sort of gives, you know, gives a bit of a profile to that nose. Then join it up. Run that down there. Off to the lip. That sort of softens that edge. Give it a little bit of a turn up there. See? That's nice. It sort of defines that nose a wee bit more, doesn't it? Lovely, darlings. I might put a wee bit more wash my brush out properly. A wee bit of brighter yellow ochre in here, a wee bit on the upper eyebrow. Look at that. Just bring it up a little bit into the hairline so it's attaching it there. So that will look gorgeous once it is dry. Like I said, it changes a little bit in colour. It will go a wee bit lighter. There we go. Just want to balance the darker stuff out over here too, you know, like add, and I just want to give her a wee bit darker under her chin. Bring that down there. Lovely. Nice. So cute. A bit more yellow ochre. I want that wee bit darker. Oh, that's really dark. There we go. That looks a wee bit prettier. There we go. Nice. Brushes down. That is good. And she does have one little yellow dot up there actually on this reference. See how it's like completely different to this reference, see? So it's still painting and doing your own thing. She has a yellow dot. Right there. Righty-ho. That is it for today, my lovelies. I'm going to put a big splatter of turquoise like that. There we go. Oop. That got on her face. Oh, that was a dog. Right. Beautiful. Wait for it to dry. And I might just finen up some of this hairline again, just a couple of strands over that yellow just to blend it all in. But other than that, that is her. I will dry it off and put her up on the community posts. All right, much love, guys. I hope you enjoyed her.